දැන් අද මතයක් ඇති කරගෙන යනවා විශේෂයෙන්ම හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාට උපදෙස් දුන්නේ අය මේ වැරදි උපදෙස් දීලා තියෙනවා කියලා. මම මේක සම්පූර්ණයෙන් පැහැදිලි කරන්න ඕනේ. වගවීමට ආපුහාම මූලික වගකීම තියෙන්නේ තීරණය ගන්න පුද්ගලයාට. රටේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා තීරණයක් අරගෙන තියෙනවා නම් මූලික වගකීම තියෙන්නේ රටේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂට යා තීරණය ගත්තා නම්. උපදේශ දෙනවා එක එක අය ඇවිල්ලා. අපි ඔක්කොමලාට උපදේශකයෝ ඉන්නවා. අපි විපක්ෂයේ ඉන්නකොටත් අපිට උපදේශකයෝ ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි අපි තීරණය ගත්තොත් මූලික වගකීම ගන්න තීරණය ගන්න අය. ඒ වගේම මහ බැංකුවේ තීරණ ගත්තා. මහ බැංකුවෙන් ගත්ත තීරණවලට මූලික වගකීම තියෙන්නේ මහ බැංකුවේ අධිපතිට මුදල් මණ්ඩලයට. නිවාඩ් කබ්‍රාල් මැතිතුමා තමයි අධිපති හැටියට හිටියේ. මූල්‍ය මණ්ඩලයට ඒ වගේම ඉහළ කළමනාකාරීත්වයට. උපදෙස් දෙන අය හුඟක් ඉදී. නමුත් මූලික වගකීම තියෙන්නේ තීරණය ගන්න අයට. දෙවෙනි මට්ටමේ වගකීමක් තියෙනවා. වැරදි විස්තර කිව්වා නම් නොමගේ යවුවා නම් ඒක දෙවෙනි මට්ටමේ තියෙන වගකීමක්. ඉතින් මම ඒක පැහැදිලි කරන්නම ඕනේ. නැත්තම් මේ මතයක් ඇති කරගෙන යනවා. හරිද? හිතලා බලන්න මම රෝගියෙක් මට ගිහිල්ලා හරිද දොස්තර ගිහිල්ලා වැරදි ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් එක දෙනවා. ඒක සමහරට වෙන කවුරුහරි දොස්තරට දෙන්න ඇති. වග කියන්නේ කවුද? මාව මැරුවේ කවුද? දොස්තර ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් එක ගහපු එකන. යා හොයලා බලන්න එපායිනේ මේක හරි ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් එක හරි රෝගයටද කියලා. යා හොයලා බලන්න ඕනේ. තේරුණා නේද? යායි වග කියන්න ඕනේ. ඒක දුන්නේ එක්කෙනා ගැන හොයලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. සුළු සේවකෙක් එක දුන්නද නර්ස් කෙනෙක් එකේ වෙලාවෙ දුන්නද නැද්ද කියලා එක හොයලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මං හිතන්නේ මේක පටලව ගන්න එපා. මොකද වැඩපිළිවෙලක් යනවා හරියටම පෙන්වන්න කවුද මේවට වග කියන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. I would like to just say one thing here. Yesterday was the election on the Committee on Public Enterprises. And I've been asked the question, knowing fully well that you cannot actually win that election, why did you put your name forward? I want to say it was a decision of the Samagi Jana Balavegiya opposition that we should be contesting for the chairmanship of the Committee on Public Enterprises. The principle behind that has always been, in the United National Party in particular, in the past, is that the legislature is responsible for finance and should be a check and balance on the executive. A clear separation of powers is necessary. In the United States of America, when the president is elected, he brings his cabinet from outside the legislature, and there's a clear separation of power. In the Westminster system, that's not so. When the Prime Minister appoints the cabinet, appoints it from among the legislators or parliamentarians. In Sri Lanka, it's the same. Therefore, in any standing committee in parliament, usually the larger number, the majority is with the government of the day. But as a check and balance on it, right, we have in the past given the position of chairmanship of those standing committees, particularly COPE, to right, members of the opposition, because it must be a check and balance, because otherwise there is a conflict of interest. Otherwise it's strange. Those who make decisions, those who spend the money, those who do deals, those who rob and steal, it's almost like they are doing the audit and they are following up on the audit. It's almost like that. That's a reason that you need the chairmanship of these committees in the hands of the opposition. Just yesterday, the United Nations Human Rights Commission voted on a resolution on Sri Lanka. And this UNHRC resolution is nothing new to this country. It's generally to do with the war in the past and the violation of human rights. But for the first time in the UNHRC, the discussion has been on economic crimes committed in Sri Lanka. Very few countries in the world are being accused of this, and Sri Lanka is one of them. In the discussions with the International Monetary Fund and the staff level agreement, the issue of corruption in this country was also highlighted. Steps need to be taken about it. We had the president, new president of the country, come to parliament yesterday and talk about his recent visits to Japan, to Singapore, and so forth, and also his discussions with India. And we got an impression that the visits have gone well, and he was able to mend the relationships with our international partners. But it was a few hours later that a vote was taken in the UNHRC and a resolution which was against, if I would put it like that, Sri Lanka was passed with 20 people voting for the resolution and only 7 people objecting to the resolution. The President, in his remarks in Parliament in the morning, said about the long-standing relationship with India. And we must acknowledge we have a long-standing relationship. In the present crisis, India has stood with us and assisted our country. And I know financially what that means as a former State Minister of Finance. And therefore we need to appreciate that. But when the vote came in the UNHRC, India abstained from voting. The President in the morning also mentioned how he had gone to improve the relationships with Japan. Japan is a traditional friend of Sri Lanka. You know how J.R. Jayawardena after the Second World War basically went and spoke in favor of Japan while all the other countries were trying to get basically compensation for what happened during World War II. That relationship has grown strong. During our period in government from 2015 to 19, we built on it. The light rail project took 2 years that we worked with the Japanese, and we were about to implement it when the government changed. The present government of Gotabhaya Rajapakasa came and completely derailed that whole light rail program without any scientific basis or reason. And more recently, the Japanese accused a minister in the present government, in the Rajapaksa government, accused him of soliciting a bribe of work for while they were working on completing a second terminal at the Bandaranaike International Airport. Work there had to be abruptly stopped because of that. President Ranil Wickremesinghe correctly tried to correct that relationship and went to Japan, and he came and expressed positive sentiments in Parliament. However, in the vote in the UNHRC, Japan also abstained on the resolution against Sri Lanka. These are traditional friends, India and Japan. Even they have abstained. There's a lot of rethinking that needs to go on. So yesterday, when my name was put forward to be chairman of COPE, the government clearly got together and voted against it. And why have they done that? They have done that because they want to protect their interest, and particularly corruption. I must say this, it was not a loss. It was a victory for those who want to protect corruption. We will not give up on the struggle. Innocent people, poor people pay taxes in this country, and we need to safeguard those taxes. We can't let that go into the hands of a few in the governing class of the country. That fight will continue. Everybody knows that I will also be in the forefront of that fight, that we must eliminate, if not at least minimize corruption, and we will continue to go after that.
Supreme Court has granted leave to proceed in the